Guys, look, I get it. I totally get it. You opened a martial arts school and man, it's kind of crushing you. There's all this other stuff to do other than teach, right? You love teaching. You love jiu-jitsu. You love Muay Thai. You love karate, whatever it is you're teaching. And man, but there's all this other stuff. There's the front desk. There's taxes. There's curriculum. There's cleaning. There's problems, staffing, covering. Whew, man, it's so much. It's so much. Well, let me tell you, we have started what's called Easton Online. And Easton Online is here to solve all of these problems for you. Easton Online is a digital academy for martial arts school owners and managers. We'll help you establish or enhance your business with best practices. Most importantly, we're going to help you get back to what it is that you love most, teaching and doing martial arts. Okay, so for more information, guys, go to easton.online. Again, that's easton.online. Add your email. You're going to get notified about the course launches. Our first course is going to be all about the first impression specialists, your front desk, and all kinds of stuff, special offers, promotions, as well as we started a podcast by the same name, Easton Online, that's going to talk about our process of how we went from a tiny little martial arts school to what is now 7 martial arts schools, 7 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Muay Thai schools, in a very holistic way that we believe kept the integrity of the art and also deals with its people very well. So again, easton.online, enter your email and you're going to get everything you need right there. So thanks, guys. Hey guys, don't forget to check out my book by the same name as the podcast, The Gospel of Fire. It is on Amazon. So just go on amazon.com, The Gospel of Fire, or you can just simply search my name as well, Eliot Marshall, and it will pop up. You can buy the Kindle version or the paperback version. I appreciate the support, and it just kind of goes up in about my life a little bit as a memoir-ish to self-help-ish type book, but check it out. Leave a review if you so choose and you find it helpful or unhelpful, either way. So amazon.com and then search The Gospel of Fire. Guys, the podcast is also brought to you by Onnit, ONNIT, Human Optimization Company. Again, code word Eliot is the code word for your order on Onnit. You will receive 10% off. Again, ONNIT, all kinds of stuff for human optimization. They have supplements. They have the Total Human. They have all kinds of stuff. Alpha Brain. I love me some Alpha Brain every once in a while when I know I got to sit down, get some work done. The brain just kicks in a little bit. I've enjoyed using the Shroom Tech Sport. It gives that little extra boost when I'm getting ready to go do a workout. So again, ONNIT, code word Eliot, and you will receive 10% off your order. Guys, this podcast is being brought to you by Evo Labs. Evo Labs is a cannabis company who has some of the best CBD products on the market. I really enjoy all their CBD products. They have an intense salve. That is my favorite product, where deals with muscle soreness. You rub it on your muscles. You rub it on your body after a shower, and really helps relieve the soreness. The other CBD products, all kinds of different ones that you can intake or use, some for sleeping, some for stress and anxiety. Anyway, evolabs.com. Go check them out, and you type in the code word FIRE and you will receive 10% off your order. evolabs.com. Ever have sore, beat up fingers after jiu-jitsu? We all have, right? Ever wish there was a better way to ice them down than sticking your fingers in a cup of ice water? Well, now there is. Penguin Fingers. Invented by a jiu-jitsu black belt, Penguin Fingers remove the soreness from your fingers or your toes in just minutes, allowing you to train harder and longer with less damage to your digits. Chronic inflammation is like sand in your joints. Training day in and day out with sore, irritated fingers can leave them arthritic and knobby. Penguin Fingers can stop all of that before it ever starts. Penguin Fingers non-toxic, reusable individual finger ice packs come in boxes of 1, 2, or 4 soft gel sleeves. Simply keep them in your freezer and roll them out onto sore fingers or toes as they are needed. Available on Amazon or at penguinfingers.com. Fingers are life tools. Protect them. Use code 10THEFIRE and you will receive 10% off at checkout. Again, 10THEFIRE for 10% off at checkout at penguinfingers.com. Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter Eliot Marshall, and this is the Gospel of Fire, where we're going to go through the fire to learn how to live the best life possible. Today, my guest on the podcast is the best MMA journalist in the game, Ariel Helwani. Ariel started from nothing, worked his way up, got kicked out of UFC events by Dana White, and was able to overcome and become the face of MMA on ESPN. He is the epitome of what it is to work hard, keep grinding, and keep going. He goes over some of his battles with his own personal anxieties while leaving a very tight community in Montreal, and his story is just amazing. So, the great Ariel Helwani. I am here with, the amazing, the great, the nose, Ariel Helwani. What up, man? How are you?
Eliot, it's a pleasure. Man, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm good, man. I really appreciate it. I know everyone wants your time, I'm sure. You're the number one MMA journalist in the game, and you're working for ESPN. I appreciate you making some time for me.
No problem. My pleasure.
You're on the different end of the microphone. How often do you get interviewed?
From time to time. If I'm being honest, I don't love it because I feel like, I'm not the interesting person. You guys are the interesting people, the fighters, the coaches, the managers, the promoters. Like, those are the people who are really interesting and who make this sport so great. And so I sort of feel like you see enough of me and you hear enough of me. I don't, need to talk to everyone, but I'm happy to help out when possible. It doesn't happen all the time.
Sure.
Just because I don't feel like it's necessary, but I'm always happy and honored that anyone wants to talk to me, to be honest.
Man, so so here's why I wanted to talk to you. I definitely want to talk to you because I don't know, man. So I wrote a book, and I don't know if you know or not, probably not, but I wrote a book about my personal struggle with like anxiety and things like that, where I don't know, I tried to be as open and honest about that as possible, and then how I got out of that. And just some steps for people to be able to do that in their lives as well, and not that saying that my way is the way, just that like, hey, here's how I did it, Yep. And I like to talk to people like you, man, because you're not like you're not like a fighter. You don't look like a fighter. You don't dress like a fighter. You don't even pretend to be a fighter. You don't do any of that. Like, you embrace like the nerd a little bit of who you are. And but you're in this game over here that is nothing like what stereotypically should be you. But man, you're the best. So, and you did that with time and effort, and I mean, like, dude, Dana White fired you from the UFC. He said you couldn't come. Right? At one point.
Yeah.
But you're the guy that got on ESPN. And that's an amazing story. That's a story that people, in my opinion, as much as they need to hear how, we'll talk about Corey in a second and things like that, as much as they need to hear how Henry Cejudo is Triple C, and they need to hear how this normal guy of Ariel Helwani, who's not a fighter, is the man in the fight world.
Well, I appreciate that. And that was actually one of the things when I started, like, I always wanted to be a broadcaster, and I love journalism, and I loved MMA. And just as a fan, I kind of felt like the coverage wasn't that great. I'm talking now like 15 years ago. And I also sort of felt like if I just come in there and be myself and don't try to act like everyone else and just try to make my coverage a little more professional, wear a suit, get a cameraman to hold the camera as opposed to, me holding the camera, asking the questions like how they used to do it back in the day, get a microphone and a mic flag, and just sort of be myself and be completely different than everyone else. Perhaps I'll enjoy some success and stick out. And, I wasn't trying to act like anyone else. I was just trying to be like myself. I wasn't trying to put on a front. And I guess it's helped me because I'm a little different than, some of the other people or some of the fighters. So, but it's interesting to I know you wrote that book, and I know you've struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with anxiety as well. In fact, I don't know if I'm jumping around here, but I'll just say, like, when I went to school for journalism, I went to Syracuse. I left my family, in my hometown, Montreal. Part of the culture really isn't going away to school. Like, I know in America, everyone wants to go away and experience things. In Montreal, especially in my community, everyone just stays home. It's just the way it is. And I'm the only one who left. And that made me very homesick and very anxious. And I was so anxious in my first year at Syracuse that I would stay up in my dorm till 3 a.m. until everyone went to bed, just so I can go brush my teeth in the bathroom because I was so afraid to talk to people. And I wouldn't go to the cafeteria. I would just eat like almonds or canned soup in my room. I was very socially anxious. And so I can relate with that. And I know people sometimes are surprised when they hear me talk about that because of what I do now. And I talk to people and I'm on TV. But that's something that I definitely sympathize with as well.
Man, now that you say that, Ariel, it kind of makes sense because I want to get into that a little more. But when I say that it makes sense is that you, like, when I see you out, like not on TV, like when I just come to say hello to you, you're not, I wouldn't say you're an extrovert in that sense. You're kind of more introverted.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Yeah,
I don't like going to parties or things like that. I'm not like a very loud person. I'm a horrible hugger. People have told me, and I'm very aware of that. I've always kind of been soft-spoken, and I think that, like, when I first told my parents that I wanted to do this, they were 100% supportive. Like, I don't know if you can possibly find more supportive parents than mine. I'm sure you can find equally supportive, but like they watch everything I do, give me feedback. It's pretty amazing. I'm very lucky, but like
you can't
definitely no one thought that I would.
You can't have the best parents, man. I have the best parents. We can argue about that later.
Fair. But yeah, so I don't think they expected this out of me. But yes, I am. I would say, introverted when in social settings.
That's crazy because people, like, you exactly like you said, people wouldn't expect that. When you say your upbringing, what was your upbringing? Are you so in Montreal? What, like, when you say this tight knit community, what was the community? What was that like, man? What was childhood like?
So I grew up in Montreal. I'm Jewish, and I went to Jewish school. So I went to a private school, and there's good and bad in that. They kind of keep you in a bubble. And you're around a lot of the same people, but it's also very small. Like in my grade, there were, I don't know, 80 kids, if that. In my elementary school class, in my grade, actually, there were 20 kids. So it was very small, and everyone was very close. And so my parents, my mom is from Lebanon, and my dad is from Egypt. And they're immigrants who came to Canada in the late 70s. And so there's like a Lebanese / Egyptian Jewish community within Montreal that we were a part of as well, which is even smaller than the just general Jewish community.
Right.
So, so it's a very small, tight-knit community.
We share a lot, Ariel. I'm not Lebanese and Jew. I mean, I'm not Lebanese and Egyptian, but I'm a black. My dad's African American, and my mom's Jewish, and my parents were Holocaust survivors. So
really,
yeah, my grandparents. Yeah, my grandparents, my mom's parents, and
wow.
So that we share a lot. Like we of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not fitting in anywhere, right? Like there was no one like me in my high school, and this is what led to. For me, what led to my anxiety, man, was there was no one like me, and I was always told Hitler's coming again, right?
Oh, geez.
Like that's how I grew up. Like, so, but yeah, we share a lot. we share a lot. And
Have you been?
Go
Have
ahead.
you been to Poland, or have you been to the concentration camps?
No, I haven't, man. I don't know that I could. I don't know how well I'll handle right now. I know my kids want to go. Like so they're dead. You know, my grandparents, and
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's a weird thing when they die. Right when people die and they've went through great experiences. Like I think sometimes I never took it for granted. I would say, but but now I see it differently. You know, I see the concentration camps differently. I see Jewish religion differently because I'm not Jewish by religion. So are you a practicing Jew? Was your family practicing?
Yeah, I would say we're practicing. Like, I actually pray every morning.
Okay.
I put something on called tefillin that like you're supposed to put when you have your bar mitzvah. And like I said, I went to school, to a Jewish school, and my kids go to Jewish school. I've actually been to Poland. I went on a trip called the March of the Living.
Okay.
And we went to the concentration camps. We went to Auschwitz, and some other concentration camps, and it literally changed my life going to that. I went to that in 1999 when I was in the 11th grade with classmates, and it's unlike any. I mean, the ashes are still there.
Yeah, how do you say it changed
the
your
hair
life?
is there. Oh my God, I came back a different person. Like you take a look at your life, and you're ungrateful or you're spoiled. You just think that everything is easy, and then you come and you see that, and you see like the suitcases and the glasses, and you go into the gas chambers and you see the scratches on the wall, people trying to get out. I mean, it's all there. Like, this happened 50 years prior to when I was there. It's not that long ago. It's not like you're going to Rome and it's like 300 years ago. And so it rocks you to your core, and it made me a lot more appreciative and a lot more thankful for everything that I had. And honestly, it made me a lot more proud to be Jewish and to be who I am. And that's why it's very important for me to continue that. Sometimes I'm on these trips covering fights, and like, it could not be any more Jewish. And I'm in Abu Dhabi, I'm in Dublin, I'm in London, I'm in Vegas, and I feel so far away. And like to pray in the morning and then go, it feels like I have some sort of connection. One time I saw, my dad is very religious, and he gave a speech. He's not a very talkative person, but he was asked to give a speech, and he talked about praying in the morning. And this thing called tefillin is a thing that you wrap around your arm, and you pray for like 10, 15 minutes, and it leaves like marks for like an hour or so. And he said something that always stuck with me, is that like he likes to pray in the morning and put that on, because then when he goes to work, he looks at his arm and he feels like that's his armor for the day. And I've been through some things in my career and some uncomfortable situations, and I feel the same, like that's my armor, like I'll be protected. And so that's why I still like to do it till today.
Yeah, I use my grandparents a lot, man. When it gets ugly for me, like when I call my anxiety, I call him the devil. 'Cause I'm not. I wouldn't even say my grandparents were very religious. We practiced like the holidays, like we like the major holidays. Sure, we prayed, and things like that.
Yeah.
We had meals, but we weren't like we didn't go to shul or anything like that. But when the devil comes for me, I call on them. I call on.
Does it work?
Yeah, it works. It works. I call on them, and I'm just like, man, like if you guys survived that, then I can survive this.
Right.
If you guys,
for sure,
because of that, right? Like there's just this suffering that us Jews have that in common, all of us, right? Like
yes,
and the protection of it, like you said, that's it's really interesting, man. Like I didn't know all this about you. This is why I wanted to talk to you, and I think people want to hear it, right? They want to hear everyone's story, because in my opinion, the world's not that different. We're not that different. I know with all politics and our religions and all of this, like they like to scream how different we are, but we're really the same, all of us. And I think that's the message that needs to be spread in the world is how similar we all are and not how different.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, even now that I'm an adult and you meet people from all walks of life, and it's great to get out of the bubble and to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. I mean, even this, like I had no idea I've covered your fights. I had no idea you were even Jewish or had any sort of connection to Judaism. So yeah, there's a lot to be learned, and these are weird times, especially. I won't go on a whole social media thing, but there's just like a lot of hate out there, and I do wish that people would realize that we're a lot more similar than they think.
Okay, so I mean, let's go into the game a little bit. Like we'll come back to like your personal story. So, but there's a lot of hate a little bit on social media with like the fighters and things like that. Like in what we're doing, like everyone's trying to be Conor McGregor, and Conor studies and works and like puts time in, just like your partner Chael, right? Like, man, Chael worked at his shtick. This wasn't just like, I have an interview with Ariel Helwani, I'm gonna say some outlandish shit. This was way different. Like they put work in, but now you see what's going on a little bit, like the trolling. And how do you feel about that? Just like, I mean, but it gives you something to talk about every day for sure.
Sure. I mean, I'll say the thing that I dislike the most is the way the fans treat the fighters. Like, I'll see, for example, Daniel Cormier say something and post something before a fight, after a fight, heartbreaking, whatever, and like, you'll get the gifs of him crying or calling him a fake champion or fat and things like that, or you got knocked out and all this stuff. I'm like, who the hell are you, man? Like, serious. I have so much respect for fighters and for what you guys do and the courage that you have to go in there. I cannot even fathom preparing for 2-3 months for 15 minutes, having all this pressure and your dreams, and you're not getting paid that much, and then having to go online and I like to say, like, the same phone that you talk to your mom on, you see some idiot disparage you and make fun of you. It just drives. I mean, I was just like looking before we did this. I tweeted something about Nick Newell, who's an inspiration, and I see someone writing like, "Oh, why don't you interview some real fighters? That guy's not a real fighter." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking?" It just, and I know we shouldn't fall into these traps, but you're a human being. You read it. It's on your phone. It's on your page, and it just drives you nuts. So like, that's the stuff that bothers me. The fighters trying to make a name for themselves, persona. Gimmicks, trash talk, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't bother me.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me at all, because I know what they're trying to do. I know that Cejudo and Colby Covington are just trying to get paid. They're just trying to become famous. They're just trying to get, some sort of emotional connection with the audience. And I think that that's part of the game. Like, it's important. You have to do that in order to make a lot of money. The best fighters have done that. And so there are different ways you could go, and there's certain lines that you probably shouldn't cross. But I typically feel that all's fair in love and fight promotion, that like, if you do this for a living, you might as well go for it and try to, make the biggest splash possible.
So how do you feel like with the melee, with like the Conor Khabib thing, right? Like when someone's attacking someone's religion and life and lifestyle, and then like, I mean, like, Khabib's not from our country. Khabib doesn't get all of that, right? And then he, and then he loses it at the end, like he lost it. Like, where's your stance? I mean, I'm not criticizing you at all. I just want to understand where your stance is on things like that.
I feel religion, family, these things are. Listen, that doesn't help sell the fight. Like, you could get personal, mano y mano, and not bring in someone's wife. I think those comments are very inappropriate, and there's no real point. Like, it's not like Conor's trying to build a fight with a member of Khabib's family. But at the same time, I will say, I understand this is very personal, and I understand that, it's hard for me to put myself in his shoes. In this particular story, his friend was attacked, blah, blah, blah. I think that whole thing was just dark and ugly. Right. And, we all needed a break from it. And I just don't like, if I'm being honest, I don't like this sort of disingenuous response after from promoter / organization / media. It's like, there's no place for this and blah, blah. Yet the clip is shown over and over and over again, and all this stuff. Like, dude, come on.
If Conor and Khabib fight again, that's going to be the promo.
100%. 100%. Jumping out of the cage, all that stuff.
Yeah, like
all that stuff.
Like, because the promo before the fight was Conor throwing everything onto the bus. Right?
Absolutely.
And
it's unfortunate. Like I wish the bus thing didn't need to happen for that fight to be big. Like, and it
They didn't
made
need
me
to. They
very
didn't need to
sad.
promo that. Like that fight would have been just as big without the UFC promoing the bus throwing incident. Over. Come on, man. Connor's. He's red panty night, right? Like, and Khabib's never lost. Yeah. Khabib's got all of Russia. Connor has all of Ireland. Of course, it's going to be the biggest pay-per-view, regardless. You don't need to show that. I agree.
Well, and especially because it came at the expense of some of your fighters who had nothing to do with it. Like Rose Namajunas was shaken. Michael Chiesa had to pull out. Ray Borg had to pull out. Karolina Kowalkiewicz is crying. Like you don't need that. You know what I mean? Like that was unfortunate. But again, emotions are like DC and Jones could have hurt someone when they brawled in the MGM. They're lucky they didn't.
They're lucky they didn't.
There could have been an old lady there, and they could have rolled on top of her or something. You know, they were in the lobby of a freaking casino hotel. You know. That could have turned out horrible.
Sure, imagine if Cowboy's grandmom was there, right? Because she comes to everything.
Yeah. Good point. Or, the original plan with Conor was that he was supposed to come to the media day, but he got there late. So, like, we were all there, and there were just random people walking around. Like, what would have happened then? So my only point is that, like, I know it's very, very personal. I know it's very tense. I just don't like just own it. Like, in many respects, this is the circus. This is fight promotion. So just own it. Don't give me the whole puppy dog look afterwards. Be like, there's no place for this, and then 2 months later, promote it. Up the wazoo.
Right. Yeah. Trust me. They're going to be the next time Nate Diaz fights. They're going to be showing him smoking a joint.
Of course. Although in that particular case, no one really reprimanded him. So at least they were honest that was freaking brilliant promotion. And self-promotion. Like he's just a genius. Like anyone thinks that the Diaz brothers aren't smart and don't know what they're doing, you're absolutely wrong.
Dude, I love him.
He's an absolute genius. Yeah, he's incredible.
Him, man. He's incredible. Like his whole thing, that he's the champ, the baddest motherfucker champ, and like the way he backs up the argument is so good.
Yes.
Right? Like he's like, okay, so what? You were the champ, and then what? Then you lost the belt, and now you can't fight anymore. The baddest motherfucker. I've been here for 15 years, right? Like, it was incredible. It was incredible. Like, that. And he's right, though. That's the thing. Like, when you break it down by the argument, I agree with him.
Yeah, and his whole thing about, like, Street Fighter and not watching cool movies, like, it is somewhat simple and innocent. But, like, when you listen to him, you're like, yeah, you know what? He's actually right. Like this makes a lot of sense. And it's just nice to have him back because it's always fun and interesting when he's around.
And he's like, I represent the Nick Diaz army. I love it, man, Because I'm kind of like that amazing. Too. I'm ride or die. Like I have 6 rules of life, and my rule number 6 is ride or die. And man, until the day I die, I represent Eastern Jiu-Jitsu, man, with them all, and that's just how it goes. Like nothing's going to change that. And like, so I love it. I love it. Like he's just as old school gets, when he was like, and Caesar's probably mad at me right now for some of the shit that I'm doing because he's taking a lot of shit. But but Caesar loves me and I love him. Like that. Like we need like, I know his antics, he does it differently, but I think the world needs a little more Nate Diaz. What do you think?
Oh, 100%. Like he's just real. He's authentic. And what I love about him is that he's not afraid of repercussions. I mean, who has the cojones to show up to open workouts smoking whatever he was smoking? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why the fans love him. That's why they have this connection to him. Like, remember back in the day, pre-Reebok, they would walk to the cage wearing jeans and a belt.
Oh. Yeah, like they were going to get into a street fight. Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. You're right. When they were like in a pair of jeans and probably Reebok sneakers before they were made to wear Reebok sneakers, right?
Yeah, and that's the part that kills me about Reebok, because like these are memories that now we don't have and can't create because they've stripped us of this. I'm not a fan of that, and I hope that they get rid of it whenever it's done, because I first of all I don't forget about how it looks. I think it's taken money away from the fighters, A, and B, this is the fight game. Everyone should not look the same. They should not look uniform. Right. And if you tell me that you want to clean it up and you want it to look like the NBA or the NFL, well, in the NBA and the NFL, they could still make hundreds of millions of dollars off selling, their rights to shoe companies, right? Or glove companies in the NFL, or cleat companies in the NFL, or in hockey, skate companies. Where do the fighters get to profit? Where like they can't sell their gloves, they can't sell their shorts. What can they sell? There's nothing left. They can't sell their, so I don't buy that.
Sure, they come take it from us. I mean, not me. I can't say us anymore because I was out after Reebok, before Reebok. But yeah, they come take it from you in the back. Like they like, hey,
what do they take?
They take a piece of your clothing that they come ask for it, that you wore out to the cage so that they can sell it.
Yeah, to like memorabilia stuff, right?
Yeah, they're gonna sell it. That's what they do. Like,
yeah, but did the fighters get a cut of that?
No.
What?
Like, oh no, they take something from every fighter, and you have to sign it, like something that, and you had to wear it to the cage. It can't be like just this thing that you had like from years ago.
Yeah, so Corey Sandhagen beats Rafael Sunsao. They come to the back
immediately
and say, "Can you sign something?
Like
a glove?"
Yes, I mean, dude, they don't give you 5 minutes, man. After you get done media, the UFC apparel team is like on you.
Wow. And what did it? And you get to pick?
You get to pick. Yeah, you get to pick what it is, but it can't be something that wasn't seen. It had to have been seen.
And then what? And then
you sign it. You sign it, and then you give it to them.
It's crazy,
dude. And they don't give you 5 minutes.
The cut of it?
No, not at all. No, dude.
Wow.
You remember Neil Magny's fight in Argentina, right?
Yeah.
We are in the back, dude. That, I mean, look. First of all, we walked at 3:30 a.m. I think they've got to do something about that for sure. Like, it's not cool to fight at 3:30 in the morning wherever you are.
Right.
Right. So we walked at 3:30. We get in the back. It's 4:15. Right. He just got fucked up. Right. He just got his ass beat. Like, he can barely walk. He's trying to call his wife. She's trying to call. Like, the connection's not good. And there's the apparel team just like sitting there, wanting something. And you're like, dude, will you give us fucking 15 minutes, please?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
that's crazy.
And they try to be respectful, and I'm not faulting the person, because like they have to do this. Like,
it's their job.
It's their job. I'm not mad. It's not them. But like, talk about like wanting to yell at someone.
Sure.
You're like, dude, are you? I mean, I know this is your job. 15 minutes, please. Please. He would just like to talk to his wife for a second. She just, like, the last thing she saw, he was laying face down on a canvas. She would like to know that he's okay.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And then they sell it.
I hate the Reebok deal.
And then they sell it.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, because I had Alistair Overeem on last week, and he likes the Reebok deal for totally different reasons.
Really?
Yeah, he likes it.
Why?
Amal, why did he like the Reebok deal? Do you remember? He said, just like the professionalism of it.
Oh, come on. You can make your own professional outfit. What does that mean? Like, you can, if he doesn't like, he could come out wearing whatever he wants. Like, what?
I agree with you. I don't like the Reebok deal, because it took, like, besides all of the stuff that we talked about, it took money away. I mean, on the undercards, when I was fighting as a undercard fighter, like, I think I made one main card in my life. I made 15 grand, 20 grand to fight off sponsorship.
Wow. That's the most important thing. And then when you consider, like, okay, what are some of the great images from back in the day? Like, everyone knows Chuck Liddell wore the shorts with the ice on it, right? Mm-hmm. The blue shorts. Mm-hmm. Everyone remembers Tito Ortiz with the fire. Everyone remembers Mike Tyson coming out all black and the black shoes. Like, this is what makes fighting great. The outfit. You know what I mean? Like, the personality. It's a small part of why we love it. Like, like you said, I'm a nerd. I love this stuff. I love the fight game. I love posters. I love fight posters. And like, now that, they're just all generic and stuff, but like these little things, the posters, the weigh-ins, all that stuff, like, I love that stuff, and I don't understand why well, I understand to make money, but like, fighting should not be uniform. Like, I always think of Joanne Calderwood. Joanne Calderwood, she in Invicta. Yeah. She'd fight with like a kilt. Mm-hmm. Like, she's Scottish. She's fighting with a kilt. That's freaking awesome. Arjun Buller, wanted in his UFC debut, wanted to come out wearing a turban. Think about how many people are Indian in this world. They see a guy who looks like them, Sikh, walking out with a turban. And what happened? No, they said no. What? This is great. This is what makes fans. You know what I mean? So that stuff drives me nuts.
I agree. It's what builds like real connection to people.
Yeah,
right? Like,
that's
you know,
what we want. That's what we want.
That's how you do it. This is, you know, that's how you do it. But, you know, who are we to say, you know, they sold for $4.2 billion. I haven't taken anything from $2 million to $4.2 billion. Have you?
No, I have not.
We're working on it, right? We're working on it.
Yes. Yes.
I want to. So let's go back now. How did you, man? Like, so you're sitting there talking. You talked about like you didn't want to talk to anybody, and you would like literally stay awake till 3 a.m. to go brush your teeth, so you didn't have to see anybody. How did you get over that?
Yeah.
What are the things that got you through? Like I said, I like to call it the devil. How'd you beat your devil? Or I don't think you, and nobody beats their devil. How do you deal with your devil?
Sure. So a few things. So I went to Syracuse University 2001 to 2004. By far the hardest time in my life in terms of dealing with anxiety, to the point where I went to see a guidance counselor. Like, it was bad. I would leave home. I'd come home for Thanksgiving. On Sunday, I would drive back crying, bawling, like begging my parents not to let me. And I'm at this point like 20 years old. You know, I was so nervous there. I couldn't connect with anyone. It was just really hard. And I was on a mission, though. I was going to go there. I was going to graduate, and I was going to prove everyone wrong, and I was going to make something of myself. And it's once I left and graduated, I took a job at HBO Sports in New York City. Actually, so 3 years, horrible, like always nervous, always anxious. I come home, finally, I graduate in 2004, May of 2004. I'm a free man, like the happiest day of my life. The next day, I'm playing basketball with my friends, and I break my ankle pretty badly. And I'm like, man, like I can't catch a break here. I've never broken anything. I've never had a serious injury, and I break my ankle. So now I'm on crutches, in a cast, all this stuff. I get a job offer from HBO Sports, and I moved to New York to work on a documentary for HBO. It was a 1-year job. And once I got out of Syracuse, and then like 2 weeks into living in New York, I reconnected with a girl that was my girlfriend in high school, and we stayed friends when I left, when I went to Syracuse, but she happened to move to New York as well. And we started hanging out and then started dating, and she just started bringing back a lot of my confidence, maybe because she knew me from high school where I didn't really have this issue. She instilled confidence in me. You know, it's nice to be in love. It's nice to have a companion. And then I felt almost like a video game, like I was powering back up. Like I'd lost everything in 3 years, and I felt it coming back, thanks to her. And now she's my wife, and we have 3 children, and everything's good. So
I was going to say, damn, bro, I hope this is your wife, because you are pumping this chick up. I was like, oh, man. You know, so hell yeah. All right. Yeah, she's my wife. And I met her when I was 12. And we dated in the 10th grade and 11th grade, and then we kind of went our separate ways, but still remained friends. Right.
And then she kind of helped me get back on track, and I owe the majority of all that to her.
That's amazing. How old are your kids?
7, 5, and 2.
So you got 3, 7, 5, 2. I'm in a weird stage in my life, man. Like, so
okay.
I have 9 and almost 10. You know, almost 10 and 6. So 9.5 and 6, let's say. And so it's coming for you, Ariel, when your when your youngest child goes to full day school.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird thing. It's been a decade, right? It's been a decade for me of worrying about where's my kid and what's he going to eat, or one of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and what time is this? And then running here and running there. And now, man, they walk out of the house at 8 o'clock, and I don't got to worry till 4. Like, meals aren't on me. Childcare's not on me, like, or my wife, and you're like, and neither her nor I have a normal job. So, like, we'll be home during the day sometimes. So you're like, okay. It's interesting. We're adjusting.
What does your wife do?
She's a nurse practitioner, and she has her own little interior design business. How about
Oh,
yours?
nice.
How about yours? What does your wife do?
She has her own jewelry business with her mom and sister.
Nice.
So the same thing. Like I just left to go. I'm going to work now, and it was just me and her at home because my kids were in camp.
Oh,
Uh,
your 2-year-old
so
can go to
yeah,
camp?
so she goes to like a 3-hour like daycare camp
Okay, got it. Nice.
at her school. She's in like daycare now, 3 days a week, and so 3 days a week she can go from 9 to 12.
Got you. Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. We did the same. We didn't. I think we called it. I think mine went to like a Montessori school or something. Like, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
3 days a week. Do your kids? What are your kids into? Are they into martial arts like you, or like what do you like? So for me, my kids do they have to do martial arts. They know rule number 1 is jiu-jitsu. Some people make their kids go to church. My kids, and I'm not like you're going to. I'm not screaming at them, obviously, right? Like, but they know that jiu-jitsu is like not an on the table argument of something that's not in their life. And you love martial arts, so where are your kids?
Do they like it, by the way?
They do. Yeah, they do. My kids, right now, like we'll see what happens. Right now, they love their dad, because they're at that age where like they're, like they wear UFC socks to school. They have UFC hats. Their backpacks are all UFC because, I fought in the UFC and they see me. Their dad was on TV this weekend, right? So yeah. So they think it's cool. Like where it goes, I don't know. Like when they go through the I hate my dad stage. So I'm super aware of that. But right now, it's not a problem. How about like
like if they say to you, I want to be a fighter, what do you say?
My children can do whatever it is that they want to do with their life. I am going to be 100 as long as it's legal, I'm going to be 100% supportive. If they don't want to go to college, they don't have to go to college. I take the Gary Vee approach a little bit, Let's find out what you want to do, but whatever that is, we're in.
Right.
We're in. How about you? How do you see it?
I agree with that 100%. My kids were so my 7 and 5-year-olds, 5-year-old boy. They're very into Pokemon right now. Okay. I was never into that stuff as a kid. I never liked sci-fi or any of that. I was a huge sports fan from the moment. Like I remember being 4 or 5 years old and watching basketball and baseball and pro wrestling, things like that. But never into like that sort of thing. And so initially I was like, well, this is kind of funny. Like this is total opposite for me. But then I remember when I was growing up, like my dad, very, very, very hardworking man from Egypt, immigrant, worked in a factory, built his way up, ended up buying the company. Like I remember watching pro wrestling in particular, and he would get mad at me. He'd be like, you're a smart boy. Why are you watching this nonsense? And like, he didn't care about basketball. He didn't care about fighting. He didn't care about anything. And so I'm not going to try to get them into something that, I like just because I like it. So right now they're into that. We play, basketball outside. We'll play football and things like that, but they're not like totally into it. And so I'm just letting them figure it out. In fact, this morning I was trying to convince them to try martial arts and to try jiu-jitsu, and they're like sort of into the idea, but like not. And so I'm just letting them be and figure it out. They're kind of figuring out what they like and what they don't like at this point, and that's totally cool with me. My middle son is a lot more like myself. I feel like he's a very hardworking, like bruiser type of athlete. When I see him playing with his friends or playing soccer, something like that, also reminds me of me because he's always biting his nails and a little nervous. So I think I gave that to him. But I'll let them figure it out, and sure, I'll be there by their side.
Yeah, sometimes that's the goal with parenting, and I think that's where we blow it sometimes is we like so like when I say my kids have to do jiu-jitsu, like that's rule number 1. Look, we're not fighting about it. Like it's just part of our life. Hello, are you there? Oh no. You there? You back? All right, we got you. Hello, Ariel.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm here.
Okay, cool. So like when I say my kids' rule is jiu-jitsu, like it's not because they like it's what it does for the soul, the life, how it teaches you how to struggle and survive and all of that stuff, That's why that's my religion is jiu-jitsu. So that's the rule. But as far as like what they do, yeah, I agree with you. Our job is to support our children. It's not to make them be doctors or lawyers. We'll have doctors and lawyers, in my opinion. People will want to do that.
Yep.
That's not hard. But no one like greatness. And whatever that is, I like that. That's why your story is so interesting to me, is because you achieved greatness from where greatness was not there before. And that's in my opinion, that's like the special shit in the world. Like, and even though I know you're not Connor, right? You don't have 14 million followers and yada yada and whatever, and you're not Anderson or GSP, but that's okay. Like, we all can be great, and rather than be like somebody, be you. Like, find your power, and that's the amazing story of what the world brings to us, in my opinion. Hello.
Yep. I agree. I'm a big believer in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you again. Yep.
Eliot?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. No, I agree 100%. I'm a big believer in just being you and not trying to be someone who you're not. Like, I think that has been part of my success a little bit with the fans, because I think that they saw me early on in my career, and they noticed that I was just a fan and I wasn't some TV guy trying to act like something that I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I just think if you're authentic and you're real and you just act like yourself, you don't have a fake voice or fake, like suits and all, like you're just playing up some sort of character. In my position, I think if you're a fighter, it's a little different. You can play a character, that's fine. But I think in my position as a journalist, fans just want the real deal. And the connection that I've had with them over, the course of my career so far, like, supporting me, having my back, things like that, for the most part, has been pretty amazing. So
stuck around,
I feel very lucky.
You stuck around. It's the Muhammad Ali effect, sometimes I call it. He, like, no one liked, like, no, come on, man, white people didn't like him when he was like actually fighting, right? Like,
right.
Because no American liked Muhammad Ali because he was like, anti-American, they said. But then when they saw him stick around, he became beloved by the world. Right?
Yeah,
like
and that's a good point.
Right? Like, come on, like, he was a Muslim, right? For a little while he was a black Muslim. That was like the worst thing you could be. Like, Nation of Islam Muslim.
Right.
Like, so outside of their community, that's terrible. That's how most of the world sees them. Even sometimes other Muslims, correct? Or I think it's Muslims.
Right.
I have a Muslim friend. You don't say Muslim, it's Muslim. Sorry. But like, he stuck around long enough, man, and like like you could see that he wasn't fake, and that's the important thing. Like, and I believe is the same thing with you. Like, you weren't fake. You were really trying. Like, you loved martial. You loved MMA. It was that simple. You just loved MMA.
Yep, I did. I liked it, and I kind of viewed, in a weird way, MMA was the underdog when I started to cover it and truly love it. And I kind of viewed always myself as the underdog. When I went to Syracuse, what really drew me to wanting to do this as a job was I always wanted to be a broadcaster. I always wanted to be a journalist. But then when I got to Syracuse, I realized that everyone had the same dream as me. For the first time in my life, I was surrounded by like-minded people that, they all wanted to be the next baseball, basketball, football guy. And so I remember telling my parents in 2001 that there's this sport called mixed martial arts that at the time was only 8 years old, that I feel like is going to be mainstream at some point. And in 10 years, there's going to be some executive in some office who says, I don't know anything about this crazy sport, but like, find me the guy. Who's the guy? And I want to make myself the guy. I want to be in that position. I want to be the Howard Cosell of MMA. And I kind of viewed this crazy sport as an underdog, and I viewed myself as an underdog. And that's why I feel like I was drawn to it.
Have you have you read Malcolm Gladwell's David and Goliath?
I have not.
That's the story. What like, it's you were David. You made yourself the very, very, very best David in the, I'm David and Goliath. Obviously, we all know the David Goliath story.
Yeah.
And then when it was time, and then when you had your chance to be Goliath, there it was. You know,
Wow.
there it was. That the whole book.
Yeah.
The whole book is about that. He tells all these stories about. He's like, man, like Jew, like, you know, let's go back to our roots here for a second. He was like, in the 1940s and 50s, like Jewish lawyers, it was terrible for them. They would graduate law school, they couldn't get jobs, and yada yada. So they had to do all of this like corporate law, like of you know, one corporation buying another corporation. And to us right now, that's huge, right? That's huge money. But back in the day, it was not. In the 40s and 50s, it was not. That didn't change until the 70s. So all these Jewish lawyers got all of this practice at this shitty corporate law, which they didn't get paid very much for. And then all of a sudden, boom, it exploded. It exploded, and you needed these guys that like that really knew how to do this shit really, really well. And then there they were. And they got to just crush. Then that's your story.
Wow.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you had great parents, but if you would have told any other set of parents that you were going to be the best MMA journalist in the world, they would have been like, "Oh, that's great. And how are you going to feed yourself?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's 100% true. Like, they really had my back. In fact, when I graduated, I went from. So I worked at HBO Sports for a bit, and then I worked for a production company and worked on all these other shows and all that. And then I actually got to Spike TV in 2007 because at that point I was really liking the UFC and MMA. It was huge. You know, this is post the first few Toughs, and I felt like, all right, you know, I love TV production. Why don't I go to Spike TV? That would be perfect. Mm-hmm. And so I actually got a job with Spike TV in 2007, September of 2007, and I lasted 1 week there. I realized that Spike didn't actually produce any of the content on the UFC. It was the UFC who produced everything, so it wasn't really that interesting. I didn't want to just be a guy sitting in a cubicle. And I remember going to there was a fight night in September of 2007 headlined by Dean Thomas and Kenny Florian. And that was my first trip. It was my first week there. And I remember talking to the people at Spike, like, okay, what do we do here? Like, it was in Vegas. What do we, like, what's our job? And like, oh, we just kind of sit back and make sure the UFC has everything they need and get out of their way. And I was like, I can't do this. So when I got back home, I quit. I said, you know, this job isn't for me. I'm sorry. My boss told me, this is the biggest mistake of your career. You're going to regret this. I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And I was the black sheep for a month until they found someone to replace me. And it was while I was sitting there in my cubicle for a month, I started my own website. I decided that was the crossroads of my career, and that I was going to give myself 6 months to get noticed. I was going to give myself from October of 2007 to April 1st, 2008. And my goal was every morning I was going to post an interview with a fighter. And I would write to fighters on MySpace at the time. And I would like shoot for the moon. I wrote to Tito and Chuck and all these people, and I would get back responses. It was amazing. And I would post an interview every morning, and I started to gain some traction. And with 3 days left on my deadline, I ended up, a website reached out to me and offered me a job, double what I was making at Spike. So it worked out. But in those 6 months, I had no job. I got engaged to my wife. She never once said, you know, like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
You got to get a real job. You're sitting at home interviewing fighters on your computer. Like, what is this? She had my back.
Are we moving back into my mom's basement? Dude,
yeah, exactly.
That's
not once.
That's amazing, man. You make me feel good because that's what I'm doing now. A little bit like I have my schools and stuff, so I'm set as far as I don't have to. Excuse me, I don't have to worry about like finances. Like, my schools are great with them all, and we have a great team and all of that stuff that crushes it for me and for everyone else, and we have vision, and so I'm not stressing. But I'm trying to build this brand thing, you know, like this thing that I'm doing, and I'm trying to build. We have another business called Easton Online where we are. It's just brand new. We're how to make your martial arts school great. We're giving our processes away, you know. And man, dude, it's just a lot. It's a lot of emailing right now. Like, dude, I'm hitting up Joe Rogan. I'm hitting up, you know, for Jonathan Haidt. I'm hitting up all of these people that I want to talk to. Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown, and I get no response, like zero response right now. So, but it gives me some hope. Like, I just keep, like, I don't know, man. I just hit you up. That's all that was, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's
and that was exactly it. I would just do it. I was sending 30 or so messages a day on MySpace. There was no Facebook.
Right.
There was no Twitter. And I would go on everyone's MySpace and I would send them, hey, Bruce Buffer.
Right.
Hey, Dan Severn. Hey, Chuck Liddell. Hey, George St. Pierre. Hey, Tito Ortiz. And 3-4 people would write me back, and I was good.
And you do it.
I just needed one a day. I just needed one a day.
All right, I know you got to.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and then so once you get a little traction, you get a little confidence, and then you could tell people like, hey, look, this guy talked to me, and then it kind of snowballs from there. And so, you just the main thing is like people ask me like, there were times like, so you say now like October to April, and that's like, that's just 6 months, but like come January, come February, I was super down, like nothing was happening, and I thought like this was all a waste.
Right.
And the biggest thing for me is like, don't lick your wounds, don't feel sorry for yourself, don't feel like the world is out to get you. Just wake up and try to fight. And I don't need to tell you that, but like just try to break down those walls, and good things will happen. I do believe that like if you are positive and believe in yourself, that the world tends to attract good things your way.
You're the man, bro. That was amazing. Amazing. I know you got to go, but I got 3 questions for you. Can we do 3 questions?
No worries.
We got time? All right.
Yes, sir.
1, who's going to beat Corey?
Haha. Man, I'm a big fan, as you probably know.
Yeah,
and
I know you are.
I'm worried, as I told him on Monday, I'm worried that he's going to go down the Tony Ferguson path, because we've got Dominic Cruz returning. We've got Frankie Edgar dropping down. We've got Uriah Faber, who's back. We've got Sterling, who's very vocal. There's Jan and the Russian, angle there. Where does he fit into all this? I think he should already be in that discussion. He's now won 7 in a row. Well, how's he going to break through? I believe him when he says he could be the guy. Like when I see him fight, I'm like, this guy could be a champion. He has what it takes. He's very good. And he's got incredible attributes that a lot of these other bantamweights don't have. So, my thing again, like, so Colby's thing is, MAGA, and Connor is the money and all that stuff. But like, he's got a thing too. Like what he does with that school is very impressive, and it's very likable. It's just a different type of way to get yourself out there. The stuff with the like recycling and environmental, like that's cool too. Like they just need to get behind him and start getting people to know who he is, because like at first glance he just kind of looks like the everyman, which I think is part of the appeal. He just needs the promotional muscle behind him. So to answer your question, I'll say no one. Why not? Why can't he be champion?
I say the only one that's giving him a problem. So now with Frankie Edgar coming down, I could see Frankie's very tough, right? And Cejudo, I mean, obviously Cejudo can give everyone a problem. Like you can never say Cejudo can't beat someone when he beat DJ, TJ, and he's the Olympic champ. So
yeah,
does DC retire? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. And all right, now this is just for me. So we've been on for 50 minutes now. What can I do better? How can I improve? And please don't tell me that I'm great at podcasting and talking and things like that. Like, what are some things that I can work on to make me better? Because you've obviously crushed this.
So that's a great question, and I give you a lot of props for asking it. I swear, I was thinking, and I was going to tell you after, for me, the toughest thing to watch as someone who loves interviews, things like that are my favorite thing. Like if I could interview people all day, every day, I'd be the happiest person, right? And it's hard for me sometimes to watch or listen to athletes or people who have spent their entire life being interviewed, then transition to the other side and start asking questions. Why is that? Because you've been programmed to always kind of think about yourself, not really listen to other people. Like it's just me, right?
Yes.
And so then it's hard to listen and ask follow-ups and to be inquisitive and question things and all of that. And I was going to tell you, for an ex-athlete, who's been interviewed countless times, you're doing a great job. Like you ask very thoughtful questions. It sounds like you care. It's genuine. I know you don't want to hear this stuff right now, but it sounds like you care. It's genuine. You do your research, all that. Like you're well on your way. very far ahead of some other people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing, who are ex-athletes or ex-MMA fighters. The best piece of advice I could give to you is listen. Just listen. Like, I don't know what's in front of you right now, but like, I've never written down a question. I want to go into a conversation.
Nothing.
Good. So I want to go into, and I felt that, but I want to go into a conversation like I would go into a lunch, meeting or a party or something like that. Like, I don't bring a list of questions with me. You're just a person. You listen, you conversate, you ask, you're inquisitive, you say something, they listen. It's back and forth, like what we were doing when we were talking about our families and whatnot. Right. Those are the best quote unquote interviews. And so I would just say, like, always listen. It's okay to do your research, of course. Have some sort of path where you want the interview to go. You want it to start here and end here, but never, like, I see people on TV doing interviews with athletes like LeBron James, and he's being interviewed by someone who's holding a sheet of questions. Like, you can interview LeBron James? Really? You can't sit there for 30 minutes and ask this man questions? So that drives me nuts.
Right?
And so, like,
come on,
just go
let me
in there.
do that interview.
Yes, exactly. So go in there, knowledgeable, prepared, but just with an open mind and ready to listen. And you'll have a great career doing this.
Like the way Corey fights. Free.
That's
go
right.
Go in there free.
Free.
You're prepared
right.
and ready. All right, man. I appreciate it, Ariel. You didn't like I'm sure this is terrible for you sometimes when like you just said, an ex-athlete calls you to interview you, and they're like,
no, I'm honored.
But like you just said, we can suck at this, and this could have gone very badly for you. This could be awkward. I'm glad that you said it wasn't. I appreciate that.
No, and I mean that. But honestly, I know your stuff also. Like, I've heard your stuff, and I know the kind of person you are. So I knew it wouldn't be, like what I was saying. Like, I know who's going to be good and who's going to be painful and whatnot. And I knew you would come at the interview differently. You don't want to just talk about X's and O's stuff, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I saved that. I mean, I didn't even know I was going to ask you about Corey in DC. I just wanted, I was like, I wonder what his opinion is. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time. You are the epitome of what to do, in my opinion. Like, and I know I don't know if you're rich or how famous you are. You seem very famous, and I hope you're doing very well for yourself. But you didn't do it for that. I don't feel like you did it for the fact that you love this. And if that's what we got to do in the world, that's how you find your power, right? Is you find what you love, and then you go chase and grind and work.
My biggest fear growing up was that I would have to wake up every day doing something that I hated. And I didn't want to be like that. And so I was going to find something and worry about the finances after. And I don't know if that was smart or not. And I'm sure there's other people who make more than me, but I want to wake up excited to work, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I'm going to ESPN right now to do a show that has my name on it and my face on it, and that's just like mind blowing to me. That's absolutely, like, I'm working and I see Stephen A. Smith in front of me, like that. Like, who the hell am I? Like, where did I come from? Why am I like? So this is all very surreal, and I will never take it for granted. And I feel incredibly lucky that I get to do this.
Ariel, I really appreciate it, man. That's the message. Come on, everyone. We all can do it. Everyone can do it. So, Ariel, thank you very much, man. It's going to come out Monday. So in like 5 days, I'll send you the link and stuff. And if I won't ask you again. I'll just send a link because, man, your network is very valuable, and I appreciate the time.
It'll be my pleasure.
I appreciate the time, and go do your show, man. Go be Ariel. You're the man, bro.
Thank you, Eliot. All the best to you. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, man. I enjoyed the time too, and I know we even ran over a little bit, and you stayed for that. So thank you.
No worries. Okay, I'll talk
Ariel.
to you soon.
Talk to you soon, man. Bye. All right, guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Gospel of Fire. Don't forget to check me out on all of my social media at FireMarshal205. Again, at FireMarshal205. Go to my YouTube channel. Fire Marshal 01, that is, for YouTube, where you can follow. I'm making these videos 100K strong. That's the goal for the year. I want 100,000 strong listeners to the Gospel of Fire. So I'm trying to make a video a week so that you guys can follow along on my journey of how I go about my day, some things that I talk about, some things that I try to work on for myself. And then finally, don't forget my website, eliotmarshall.com, where you can get up to date with everything that has to do with me personally, the Gospel of Fire. You're going to find all about my book release, also called the Gospel of Fire, February 12th. It will be for sale on Amazon that whole week for 99 cents. So all that information at eliotmarshall.com. Thanks again for listening. Thanks to my sponsors, Evo Labs and On It. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode.